Hey, welcome back to another episode of Simple Truth Television. Today is February 27th, 2021. Now, today wasn't the best day on Patreon. We went 1-1. We gave out 2 picks. We only got one right. But the one that we did get right was the big upset. The Baylor Bears, they picked up their first loss of the season, and this wasn't the hardest riddle ever. I mean, this was in your face type stuff. What I'm gonna start doing on Patreon, I know a lot of you like to parlay, but it hasn't been working out for us. You know, it's really difficult to put a parlay together. So what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna put out the best pick of the day. I'm gonna go through all the games in college, hockey, and the NBA, and I'm only gonna post one pick, and it's gonna be the pick with the most value. For example, today, if I would have did that today, the Kansas City Jayhawks would have been my only pick, because I hate when I mess up people's parlays. You know, today we had Oklahoma State to lose to Oklahoma. You know, they both have the Oklahoma in their name, so it was this game here. The Oklahoma Sooners, they had a great narrative, but they lost in overtime. And this pick had no value. The Oklahoma Sooners were heavy favorites. The line was at negative 220. So if I would have stood away from this game and just put out the Kansas game, you guys would have benefited from it. So I know a lot of you messaged me to asking me to look at other events, other games, but I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I need to get people paid, and the only way to get people paid is by putting out the best pick and just going straight betting. Just one pick, the one with the most value, and that's it. Let me show you guys the ritual with this. So look, this was the upset, right? Kansas was 5-point underdogs, right? The line was at plus 180. Of course, in numerology, this is read at 18, and that was a huge number in this game, the number 18, right? Notice the Baylors, they stayed on 18 wins for the season, right? Their star player, Maziao Teague, he scored 18 points for this game, right? That's what I pointed out in the decode earlier this morning when I put out the pick for this game. It was all about the number 18 because Bears in gematria sums to 18, and I pointed out how their streak was going to end at 18, right? They stayed on 18 wins for the season. They became 18-1, like 181, the 42nd prime, right? The last game in February, Black History Month, February is 42. But Maziao Teagues, the star player for the Baylors, he had 18 points. Baylor stays on 18 wins for the season. They fall to 18-1, the 42nd prime, the last game of February. The next game is actually on March 2nd, the 61st day of the year, and 61 is the 18th prime, right? But let's just notice all the 18s. And notice they lost with 58 points. Today was the 58th of the year. This was Lock City. I wish I would have just put out this pick. And that's it. I know a lot of you always message me, oh, can you give me another pick so I can parlay? Sorry, I'm not doing that. Only one pick. If you guys are not happy, you can leave. Go to somebody else. But putting a parlay together is very difficult. I don't find anything rewarding about doing it. It's a good when we hit parlays, yes. But you guys want to hit a parlay once a week, twice a week, or when you rather hit a straight bet 6 or 7 days a week? I think that's way better. I think that's, in the long run, you're gonna make more money that way. So the Bears, they end their win streak on 18 wins. Right? It ends at 18. Big number in this game. Their star player scores 18. Bears is 18. The game was on ESPN. ESPN equals 18 forwards and backwards. Just like the Jesuit logo, IHS, which stands for Isis Hamanon Salvatore. IHS is 18. This is the Jesuit logo here. Of course, all these universities are Jesuits owned. The majority of them. No doubt Kansas is. I mean, come on. But, the Baylors, they also became 10-1 in the conference, like 101 to 26 prime. Right, 101 is the 26 prime, and Jayhawks equals 26. Right, and they also became 6-1 away for another 61. Right, 61. I noticed the win streak was the 18 game win streak, but they became 6-1 away. 61 is the 18 prime. Bears is 18. And their next game is on March 2nd, the 61st day of the year, which is the 18th prime. So all these 18s is what made me go with the Kansas Jayhawks. Now, there was a slight riddle for the Baylors to win, because Baylor Bears sums to 179 in the reverse alphabetic order. Kansas could have fell to 17-9. But, I've been doing this for a while, and I'm noticing they like to set these traps for us. They did it with the Utah Jazz game. Utah Jazz played the Lakers, and the Utah Jazz was 25-6 for the season. Los Angeles Lakers is 257, but that wasn't what happened. The Utah Jazz won the game, and they won by a lot of points. They covered the 9-point spread, and the big riddle in that game was the Utah Jazz became 24-8 ATS. And that was on the memorial of Kobe Bryant's. I was on the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's memorial. Jeremy White, he's a Patreon of mine, and he left a message. I was really shocked at the words that he wrote in that message. I don't understand why he wrote all that negativity. But he said something like, he said that ATS record is not consistent, and that's why you don't use it to the code. My brother, listen, you are truly mistaken. I understand that, you are a fan of that other guy. So this is why you're so critical of me. But let me tell you something. I've been doing this for a very long time. ATS record is the most effective thing in decoding sports. Now, is it 100%? No. But is it over 80%? Yes. Okay? That's the most consistent thing in sports. Looking at the ATS record and decoding it using that. Just because you haven't had success at it, that doesn't mean we haven't had success in it. The only reason I'm successful in decoding and calling games is because of the ATS record. When I was looking at the Utah Jazz game and the Lakers game, I was on the wrong end of that game. There was a lot of things with the Lakers that I noticed. I did see the 24-8 for the Utah Jazz ATS record. But everything else that I noticed in that game made me want to stay away from it, and it backfired on me, right? So if I would have stood with my original method, my original way of decoding, which is looking at the ATS record first, I would have nailed that Utah Jazz game versus the Lakers. But the fact that I went away from that was the reason I got that game wrong. Okay, so I don't understand why you leave this negative. Like, there's ways that you can speak to somebody without being disrespectful. When you say, "Oh, another wrong pick by Simple Truth TV," that sounds like that's what a hater will say. You are a very intelligent person. There's ways to communicate without being disrespectful. You can say, "Arthur, you don't have to call me Simple Truth TV. That's the name of my channel. That's not my name." If you're addressing me as Simple Truth TV, is because, having you been watching me for a while, you know my name. I'm not gonna call you JWBD. Your name is Jeremy. I'm gonna call you by your name. Imagine me going under your videos, because I bet you've been wrong at predicting games. I guarantee you've been wrong, and there's a lot of people in this community that have been wrong. But that I'm not gonna leave a comment under your video saying, "Oh, another wrong pick by Jerry." No, this stuff is difficult. If I'm gonna give you any advice, it's gonna be, I'm gonna point out how to improve what you're doing. I'm not gonna criticize you. That's what the other guy does, and you're obviously copying that other guy. That's what the other guy's always perfect. He's 13-0, he's 15-0, he's 18-0. 19-0. He called it before the game started. He called it before the season started. He called it 10 years in advance. He called it. That's what the other guy says and does. We don't do that here. We make mistakes here. We improve from our mistakes. If you've been following me for a while, then you should know that we are the most accurate decoders in the entire community. There's nobody more accurate than us. I don't know how long you've been following me, but am I saying something that's not true? This is a fact. and we don't just nail, favorites. I mean, this game here, this could have paid you a whole bunch of money if you was intelligent enough in asking. If you would have if you went about it the right way, communicated with me the right way, you should have sent me a private message saying, Arthur, out of the 2 games that you gave out today, which one you think is the most consistent? And that's what a lot of people in the community do. And I tell them, listen, out of the 2 games, I think the Kansas riddle is the most effective. Don't parlay the 2 picks and then get one wrong, and then you want to criticize me. You have to use your money wisely. Read the riddle, verify everything. If you see that it's double coded, and that's why there's a lot of intelligent people on my Patreon. A lot of you, point out, look, Arthur, this game is double coded. Did you notice this, and this? And I tell them, yes, I did notice that, but I think that this is stronger. For example, the 179 in this game, right? Baylor Bears is 179 in the reverse alphabetical order. Kansas Jayhawks could have fell to 17-9, but you know why that didn't happen? It's because it was all about the number 18. All right. I mean, just notice that their star player even scored 18 points. If you would have just took this game on a straight bet and put $1,000 on it, you would have made $1,800 in profit. Because the line was at plus 180. This is what you get on my Patreon for $10 a month. All right. The other day, we caught the Oklahoma State Cowboys game. That was another heavy favorite, a heavy underdog, excuse me. It was all about Michael Boynton, the head coach. All right. Let me show you guys what his name sounds. So I actually did a separate video on this guy. Right, his name is Michael Boynton. He's the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, the team that burned us today. And this game was on February 22nd. His name is 222, right? And on February on 2/22, he picked up his 66th career victory, and his team, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, improved to 15-6. And the opponent, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, they fell with 69 points. They scored 69 points in the loss in overtime. And his name sums to all 4 of the values that were used in the ritual. All right? This was another heavy underdog. I mean, who else in the community is putting stuff like this together? Who else is pointing this stuff out? There's nobody else. Is there anybody in this community that's perfect? No. If they tell you they're perfect, they're lying to you. That's what you guys like. You guys like people lying to you. You guys are accustomed to listening to lies. This is a new world here. At my channel, you're rarely going to hear a lie. You're probably never going to hear a lie. You're never going to hear a lie coming from me. And you're probably never going to hear a lie from any other callers. Because if anybody calls my show and says anything that's not true, I'm going to stop them right there. I'm never going to say that I'm perfect. I'm never going to say that I'm God, I'm 18-0, I'm 30-0. Because that's not true and that's not realistic. What's realistic is, the consistency that we offer. I mean, we decode hockey. A lot of you say stick to hockey because you're so good at hockey. No, I'm good at all around. It's just that when I focus on one sport, I pick up the riddles. I pick up the patterns that they operate by, because not every league has the same method of coding the games. Not every league is the same. The NBA is different from the NFL. It's different from the baseball. It's different from hockey, right? We went on an unbelievable run in hockey, right, in the beginning of the season. Once I started seeing that the hockey got a little bit difficult, I jumped ship. I went to college. We've nailed a lot of underdogs in college. Have we been perfect? No. The basketball, I stopped decoding the basketball because there was a guy in the community stealing my picks and selling it for a higher price than I was. So I stopped doing the NBA, and I wish that guy the best of luck. But I'm not doing the NBA anymore until the playoffs come back around. We making a killing in the college. I'm gonna stick with the college games. But what I'm gonna stop doing is putting out the parlays, because that's not working out for us. I learned from my mistakes. You guys like people coming on here saying, "Oh, another perfect day. Today, we went 8-0. We had an unbelievable day. Yet the patrons are calling my phone saying, that guy said he's 8-0, but he didn't even give out 8 picks today. I'm like, oh wow, why you don't say something about it? Don't tell me about it. Expose it. Somebody's lying. Say something about it. And you know what else? Gets me annoyed. People say, when I get something wrong, people go, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Oh my God, this is the worst. But then when I get something right like this, nobody says anything. Right? This is why there's a lot of bad people in this community because of the way that they're treated. You should, when somebody gets something like this correct, a game like this was a huge game. The Baylors, they haven't lost all season. And I was able to predict their first loss. This is huge. How many decoders are doing that? The Baylors are 18 and they was 18-0 coming into this game. Putting money on the Kansas Jayhawks is pretty much committing suicide in the gambling world. And even with the numbers, I was still like, damn, are the Baylors gonna really lose today? But there was too many 18s on the board for me to ignore it. Even the line opened up at plus 180 for the Kansas Jayhawks. So they coded the number 18 all over this game. So those of you that say I'm not doing great work, I am literally the best decoder in this community, and I am convinced that that's the truth. Now I'm not perfect. There's always going to be things that I overlook. But I'll challenge anybody. I'll challenge anybody in this community to go head to head with me at decoding. Let's do a contest. Let's see how many games we get correct tomorrow or the day before or the day after. I'm gonna pick out games with value. This is a plus 180. So I don't understand what's the disrespect about. Why you guys can't just be professional when you ask your questions? I don't get it. I don't get what's all the hatred about. I mean, if you guys don't like the work that I do, you can easily unsubscribe. You don't have to be there. I want to produce work. And this is something else that I noticed, right? Before, back in the day, I used to want I want Patreon. I want a lot of Patreon, a lot of subscribers. I want my movement to grow. I don't feel that same way anymore. I don't want a lot of Patreons. I don't want a lot of subscribers. I want quality people supporting me. People who matter. People who contribute. People who leave great messages, great comments, point out great things. All you other people, I don't even care if you leave. I want you to leave. You guys don't serve any good. You do nothing positive for the community. All you do is troll, leave negativity, say bad things. You don't. I mean, you wait till the game is over to then criticize the pick. I mean, you should have criticized, and then a lot of you wait till the game is over to be like, oh, this team lost because of this, this, and this. I mean, you should have pointed that out before the game, and you could have saved all of us a whole bunch of money. Don't wait till the game is over and say, well, the Buccaneers won because, it was all about the GOAT. Oh, yeah, you could have told us that before, and maybe we would have changed it and say, you know what? Let's not go with the Chiefs. Let's go with the Bucs because of this, this, and this. But this community, it's all about me, me, me. I'm the best. I'm the best. She's the best. Even though I call myself the best decoder, and the reason I say that is because, one, the things that I've accomplished, right? Who else in this community has nailed a NASCAR race? We had Chase Briscoe last year. Who else has nailed a NASCAR race? There's like 40 drivers in NASCAR. Picking the correct one is like, isn't that impressive? Who else has done that here? Nobody. Let's see. We had the Raptors last year. I know, not a big deal, right? Picking the Raptors to win the championship over the Golden State Warriors, over the team that had a three-peat, almost a three-peat. Yeah, that's not impressive either. Picking the Nationals is not impressive. Picking the Dodgers to win 56 games this last season, that's not impressive. All the things that I've done in this community is not impressive to a lot of you. Picking the Baylor Bears to lose their first game versus the Kansas Jayhawks, that's not impressive. Michael Boyan to upset on February 22nd and pick up his 66th career win and his team to improve to 15-6, that's not impressive. None of these things are impressive. You know what's impressive? The lies. If you look at these people that say that they're perfect, you have to go back and look at their notes. You tell me if they're perfect. It's a bunch of lies in this community. And that negative energy needs to stop. I don't understand why we can't work together. We all part of this community. I don't get it. But yeah, so the big ritual was 18 in this game. And and also we took a stab at the Canelo fight. Canelo knocked this guy out in the third round. There was a lot of 58s in that riddle. I didn't know if anybody saw the video that I did earlier. I didn't know what the 58s meant because it was the 58th day of the year. It was Canelo Alvarez's 58th fight of his career. His opponent was born on August 5th, 8-5 or 5-8. When you write out the number 2, it sums to 58. And I guess what the 2 meant was that his opponent was going to pick up his second knockout loss. And I pointed that out in the video. So, even though there was a lot of 58s, it really didn't point at either fighter winning. Canelo was a negative 5,000. So I really thought it was the chances of him losing was just, those type of riddles rarely do even come through. But it is what it is. The only reason I decoded that fight is because somebody asked me to look over all the 18s. So that's what I did. But from now on, only one pick. I'm going to put out the best pick. Is usually going to be a low favorite or a high underdog. Like this one. If I would have stuck to the strategy from the beginning of the month, I'm guaranteed. This is the truth. I think we would have been 27-0 in the last month if I would have stuck to this strategy of just putting out one pick a day. The reason the month hasn't been the greatest is because I've been mixing bad picks with great picks, and I'm not gonna do that anymore. So, and just my advice: anybody that has a question, anybody that has something to say to me, my phone number is always available. You can call me directly. You can leave a message. You don't have to leave any comments, any negativity. You don't have to do that. That's childish to me. If you have something to say to me, you can address it and say, tell me why you feel like the ATS record is not successful. It's not consistent. It's obvious you don't know what you're talking about because that is the most consistent thing in sports decoding. I'm not telling you this because I got one game correct by using it. I've gone on streaks by sticking to that method. On streaks, 23-1. Who else has gone 23-1 in this community? I went 23-1 back in March. Super Bowl 56. Yeah, so that's what I got for tomorrow. I'm gonna go one pick, and I'm looking at the games tomorrow. You see these games. I'm not even gonna look at these games because 11-point favorite, 17-point favorite, 11-point favorite. The only 2 games I'm gonna look over is the Memphis and Cincinnati game, Michigan State and Maryland. So I'm gonna look over these 2 games. If I see something that stands out, I'm gonna release that pick. Actually, there are more games. So yeah, and then I'll look. Oh, there's a lot of games. Just gotta scroll more down. Okay, so the Iowa and the Ohio State Buckeyes game, definitely looking over that one. I'm looking over this game as well. All the low odds. The 18-point games, 18-point spreads. No point in looking at those games. And sometimes those games they do have an upset narrative, but I'm not taking any more risk. I gotta go on a nice streak to convince you guys that I'm really the best at this. And I'm going to prove it to you guys. I'm going to go on an unbelievable streak because I'm going to stick to the one team. And you're going to see how, I'm not just talking on my ass. This I'm gonna show you more than I can. I'm gonna prove to you what I'm saying. You're gonna see. So that's all I wanted to point out. If you guys visit my blog, you can look over all the notes. This was such an easy game, and it's just a great payout. Plus 180. 5-point underdog loses. And then they lose with 58 points on the 58th day of the year. So you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. You guys take care.